Okay, there we go. Okay, so now last week, I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys saw this insane move from BMNR, and you guys obviously would think that, oh man, if only I was inside the initial move, if only I was actually inside the first move, this thing would change my life, blah 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 blah. Now it's true, right? BMNR had a really really good news. Okay, BMNR had a really good news. And it was very similar to Aspen, right? It wasn't something that you see every single day. Okay, it definitely isn't something that you see every single day, but it comes, right? And people who just find out about it, sometimes you might have to take a little bit of a bigger risk to go in. But when you take this kind of big risk after the move has already happened, it's a lot harder for you guys to identify if the play is actually going to continue going up or is it going to go all the way down, right? And every single time, all right, every single time when there is a big runner, right, whenever every single time when there is a big runner happening in the markets, it creates, well, people who are in on the initial move to the upside, all right, they make a lot of money. But people who just see the move, okay, so they don't really know too much about it, but then suddenly everyone on social media is talking about it, and then you start looking into it and be like, oh damn, this thing went from like $9 to 160 in 1 week. If only I was in at $9. You guys get that mindset, right? And by the time you guys see this, you guys think, oh my God, I missed it. And then you guys will start to look for something else that acts like BMNR, right? For example. Now things like this don't happen all the time. Okay, it happens sometimes, all right? I think SBET happened 1 month ago, and then 1 month later we have something similar and even stronger. But I want you guys to understand not to take this thing for granted and not to treat every single play as it is. Right? This is very important. Okay, I don't think anyone should be holding this full size from whatever price you added this all the way to 160. Okay, re-entries are very important for this, right? Because at the end of the day, BMNR was still a day trade, right? Was still a trading opportunity, right? It wasn't something that you could, oh, this is great news, right? Let me buy into this and hold on to it, because it was really great news, right? And same thing, Asbat had similar news. Okay, I'm gonna show you this one. I'll do some example for you guys later. But Asbat had similar news, all right, and sure, the move was great. You can see that as I had similar news, the move was great, but you could see at the end of the day, this thing still went all the way down. Okay, one thing you need to understand is these companies at the end, they are still small caps, right? And BMNR, right? Who knows? Maybe this thing is gonna start dropping down when it hits 200, when it hits 300, when it hits 400, right? I mean, none of us can ever really know for sure how far this is gonna go from here, right? You ask anyone to give a guarantee, no one's gonna give you that guarantee, right? That we can talk about potential, right? When BMNR came along, I told you guys that this thing had potential to do the same thing as SBET, but there is no guarantee. So you don't want to take it for granted, right? Because there is every single possibility that this play, okay, could have gone from maybe this, right, $20 and go all the way down. There's a high chance it could have done that as well, right? There's a chance it could have done that as well, right? So that's why um you gotta really treat it like a trade and not expect every single play to do the same thing like this, right? It's gonna do you more harm than good. I've seen many people. I mean, I've been trading for many years now, and I've seen a lot of trend come and go. And when the trend hits a particular stock, these plays typically they go really high. One example is the cannabis sector back in 2020, right? Well, I'll use this two-way for example because this was back then. This was a low floater. It was a very, very popular stock. Okay, and when it was trending, trust me, guys, it was the talk of the town. Everyone's literally talking about this. Okay, this is 2020. You see the year, right? It went from $8 all the way to $68, right? People were talking about this. This thing is, people were legalizing marijuana and stuff. And this thing was hyped up. Everyone started buying to this thing is gonna go higher. But look, all right, at the end of the day, it's back down to where it's at, right? I'm not saying that BMR is going to do the same, right? If there's enough hype and stuff, right, to push, the price will continue going higher, right? But it will come to a point where it will still drop, right? No one stock is going to continue going up all the way. Okay, I've seen many um people during the weekend talking about how BMNR could potentially pull a MSTR type move, right? Now, MSTR, okay, you can see that initially speaking, okay, it is somewhat of the similar move, right? Maybe from $9 all the way to 130, okay, on the initial stages, right? During the Bitcoin hype. But you see, at the end of the day, sure, it made the move to 543. But how many years did that take? It took them what? 4 years, right? It took them 4 years. And you see from here down, um, I'm gonna answer questions at the end. Okay, for now, let me just go through my stuff first. From here down, so please, if you guys have questions, you guys can just ask in the chat right now. You don't have to wait to the end of the session. I'll answer them at the end once I'm done with my presentation. And then, but please stay, obviously, right? So if you have any follow-up questions, you can ask after that as well. So you can see that over here, price went down. All right, there are some bounces that we could probably trade off, but you see, it still went all the way down to 12. And you don't want to be that one person holding this at 113 for 4 years, for 3 years, for 2 years. All right, for 3 years, right? With the possibility thinking that this thing might, BMNR may do the same thing as MSTR, right? There's a high chance that it might not. There's a high chance that it never ever goes back up. Right, there's a high chance that you're in over here, this thing goes down, right, and then it just doesn't do anything, or it may show signs of going back up again, but it never goes back up to your cost price. There's a high chance it could do that because we never really know what's going to happen, right? So, so I wouldn't say high chance, but there's a possibility that it might not recover. So that's why you don't want to be that one person holding on to this, okay, and not having a plan. Now, many of you guys over here might want to take this trade because you can see that we are basing pretty nicely on the 15-minute level, and price, might curl up. I think if there is enough FOMO, or if that maybe Bitcoin explodes in, Ethereum explodes in, because this is about Ethereum, right? If Ethereum explodes up during the weekend, we might see some 4 a.m. FOMO push up on this, but whether it's sustainable or not, I'm not too sure. Okay, I don't think it's very healthy for a stock to go from 120 to 500 in a day, right? Because when generally when things like this happens, the crash is usually very hard, right? And I mean, you can see that for MSTR, right? It did not go from 100 to 543 in one day. You can see that this thing was 100 over here, right? And then it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 weeks for it to make that $400 move. And again, no guarantee that BMNR might do the same thing. There's a high chance that BMNR, after the hype dies down, might go back down to like what Tilray is doing. All right, might go down to what Tilray is doing. Okay, another sector that had a hype a few years back, something that's a little bit more relevant, right, was NFTs, right, non-fungible tokens. And TAOP was one of the NFT sympathy, right? It's Chinese, it was one of the NFT sympathy. And I want to show you guys, look, you guys can see, right? During the NFT sympathy, okay. Let me see if I can. Right, you can see. Back during no, this is after the split. So it's a little bit choppy and shit, right? The prices are not exactly 1,000. Before that, it wasn't like that. But you can see that the direction of the price during the NFT sympathy hype was very high. There's another ticker that was of the NFT sympathy high was DLPN. Dolphin Entertainment. I mean, this is a trash stock, right? But back then, during the NFT hype, you can see that this thing went from $9 all the way to 64, 65, and people were selling the monkey pictures for like super expensive prices. But right now, you can see what they're worth at. It's nothing. This price has gone all the way down too. Okay, so again, I'm not trying to tell you guys that this thing is definitely going to go down, but the possibility of it doing so is there. And you do not want to be that one person holding this at 120 without a stop loss plan for 2 years with the hopes of it doing the same thing as MSTR, right? And during these past 2 years, do you guys think that we're not going to have any other runners of different themes, right? The small cap market doesn't just run on Bitcoin names, right? We've seen biotech names run. We've seen Chinese names run. Right? And you've got to sit 2 years inside a position, not willing to cut your losses because you did not have a stop loss plan, and it's way too far down, and you got to wait 2-3 years for it to cover when there is no guarantee that it might actually do the same thing as MSTR. You're just locking up your funds. You're just, pushing yourself to a corner where you're not giving yourself any sort of options. And I don't think that's good. I think if you've done enough research onto this company and you want to invest in this, then fine. When we talk about investment, all right, you can hold for 3 to 5 or even 10 years, right? For great investments are when it comes to investing, the real money is made when you actually have the conviction to hold through the entire move, right? That's where the real money is made. If you're a trader, okay, maybe you'd be taking this at $1, sell this for like $2 plus $3, right? Short-term gratification, right? You buy and sell, buy and sell. But if you are investing into this, you can see it pays off if you can hold through the years, right? That's why it's not day investing, it's investing. It's a long-term thing, right? Same thing for MSTR. We talk about something that's a little bit more of a relevant sector, right? It's a long-term thing, right? But again, you have to do enough research, right, to know that whether this company is really worth investing into it, because not every single company is going to do the same thing like MSTR, right? Not every single company is going to repeat that performance, right? There are some that just might have that euphoria move because of the day trading and squeeze and stuff. But then after the euphoria and hype dies down, price will die down as well. Volume will rotate to somewhere else, some of the tickers to trade, and that is how it is. All right, so remember this, guys. If you guys look at the entries I gave you guys, the re-entries I gave you guys, 4 re-entries I gave you guys during the span of the week, right? The first entry was over here, right? During the first day of the move. I gave you guys re-entries at 23s as well after. And then the next day, I gave you guys entries over here, stop loss on the $44, right? And we got a nice move to 73. This re-entry got stopped out because we lost $44, right? But it was still a nice move from 50, 40s to 74. And then this day again, I told you guys to look for any sharp dips, have your stop loss on the $40, aim for new highs. This was the last alert I gave you guys, the one that made the move on Friday, and we got that. So if I were to give you guys re-entries again over here, I will have a stop loss because if it breaks down, there's a high chance it could do what SBET did, which is a huge drop. And again, I do not want to be inside this play when this thing is dropping all the way down, and I have to keep myself locked in for 2 months. If I have to keep myself locked in for 2 months, right? I might as well be in that I might as well be myself in a position where I'm actually um I'm actually over here instead, rather than over here. I mean, I can't sleep in peace, if that's the case, right? So remember, what we're doing on this is a day trade, right? There is no guarantee that BMNR might do the same thing as MSTR, even though there are a lot of hype into it. And generally, when hype and euphoria is at really, really high levels, that's where we want to start to be a little bit careful, because that's where most of the common crowd is going to come in, and maybe that's where the hedgies, right, the big guys might start to dump, and that's not good, right? We don't want to be caught up in the hype that much. Okay, I mean, again, it's high chance it might continue, but we are definitely at very dangerous territory. Nothing wrong with still adding over here, but we have to make sure to have our stop loss, watch your size, and respect it if it doesn't work out. Treat it like a trade, right? Don't think about do not think about, man, if I did this, if I did that. Man, if I knew it was this, okay, again, I was having a conversation with one of you guys yesterday. If I knew that BMNL was going to do this, I would have sold my house. I don't mind being homeless for a week, right? I should have sold my house. I'll be homeless for a week. At the end of the week, I'll buy 5 more houses. I could have done that, but nobody would know, right? And this is the kind of mindset you should adopt going to every single trade, right? Always respect your plan. If it doesn't work out, cut it. I don't care what happens later. I don't care if the price goes, you add over here, the price goes down, you cut it, and then it goes back up. All right. If it goes back up, we'll re-add this again, because there's a chance that some place, all right, maybe you see this happen, and then on the next play, you add over here, it drops, you don't respect your plan, and instead of curling back up, what it does is that it continues going all the way down. And you don't want to be caught up in that position. So please, all trading plan has to be kept tight. I don't expect every single move to be like this. You guys should know it yourself. For those of you guys who have been trading for a while now, how often do we see moves like this? All right, not often. For those of you guys who are new, trust me. All right, I have not been doing this 1-2 days. Right, I've been doing this for years. I've seen many different hype drive price up only for it to go back down. Okay, so if I see a setup, I'll still call a trade setup over here, but there will always be a plan. I'm not gonna just tell you guys buy onto this, hold onto this and stuff, because to me, right, it's not sustainable for a stock to just go this high without any sort of pullbacks or consolidation period, right? This is legit just a formal day trade, shorts got squeezed and that's it. Okay. All right, so back to the beginner topics. Okay, back to the beginner topics. Now, for those of you guys who are new to trading, listen up. Now I know a lot of you guys over here got tempted coming into this trading world because of BMNR, and I think trading is something that's very new. Many people do not know about this, right? I think the only exposure you guys probably have is people are saying that, oh, this is really cheap, right? Please buy into this, hold for like 5, 10 years, or hold for like a few months, it might go crazy. Yeah, nah, this is not what trading is about. Okay, now, trading is a little bit more active, right? It does require you to be a little bit more active. It does require you to be a little bit more, it's a little bit more time consuming as compared to investing. And there's a reason for that, right? These companies that we touch, right? Like Sun, right? That day when it went from 175 to $5, it was insane, right? But it doesn't mean that the company is good, okay? It's just manipulated by volume and algorithms. That's it. None of these companies are good companies, okay? None of these, maybe one or two of them might end up becoming good, but trying to find that one or two of them out of the 20,000 or 3,000 stocks that we trade is like trying to find the lottery numbers that out of the possibilities that you have, right? Which is not realistic, right? You can be lucky one time, but sometimes, I mean, for those of you guys who buy lottery tickets, right? You guys can be buying this your entire life, but there's no guarantee that you might even win one time. So put aside the mindset that you think every single play is going to be like BMNR, right? It's not healthy to have. I'll tell you guys this. If you guys, honestly, if you guys treat every single play like BMNR, the chances are you guys are going to lose your money is very, very high. Okay, so now that you guys are here, right? Do it right, do it good. The money is made for trading. The main money is made when you're consistent in scaling your profits every single day, respecting your losses so that it's kept small. Right? That is how it is. For me, if I were to trade BMNR on the first day, all right, let's say for example over here, if I added this over here, I love this as well. But if it loses $10, I would have gotten out. I would have cut my losses. I would not expect this to go up like that because I don't know. If it starts showing strength, then yes, I'll get back in again. But we wouldn't know what's going to happen, right? We do not see the future. If this thing were to lose $10, I would have cut my loss. I would have cut my position, take my loss, and move on to something else, or revisit this again if it starts looking good. All right, always remember this. We want to be in the position when it starts looking good, right? And we do not want to be in the position when it starts looking bad. It's that simple, right? No point in holding in the whole thing because no amount of prayers is going to help you guys move a stock. Okay? So before we even talk about buying and selling of shares, right? This over here is a startup guide for you guys. This should be part of your onboarding. Whenever you guys sign up, there should be something like this that you guys can look through, right? So you guys can click on this particular stuff, okay? And then one of them should link you to this page where it shows you how to do an onboarding. I think this is very important because a lot of you guys, again, come in using Robinhood, right? And you guys have the mentality to just buy and not and hold and don't sell on small price fluctuations because again, not every single stock is going to do like BMNR. I would say that out of the 200 stocks we trade, one of them does something like BMNR. Right, but you can't be losing 199 times of the time, right? I mean, by the time you lose all the 199 times, when the one play comes along, right, you don't have the cash anymore because you lost all of it. You know what I mean? Right. By the time the one play that comes that might have the potential to do the same thing as BMNR, you don't have cash anymore because you've lost 199 times. Right. So for me, I'd rather be winning 200 times, but not really getting like that crazy move one time. I'd rather be winning consistently 200 times than losing 199 times and then winning big one time. You understand? Right? Because let's just say I start winning big one time first, and then I start proceed to lose the 199 times. Right? It At the end of the day, there's a high chance that I might give everything back. And I've seen a lot of people do that. Because remember, I've started trading since 2020, COVID period. Right? And that period is where a lot of people made a disgusting amount of money because everything was going high. But I've also saw the same group of people that made all that money in 2020, lost it all in 2021 because they thought every single play was going to be like making moves like what BMNR did. Because back in 2020, every single stock, or I would say most of it, literally did that. It wasn't that high of a move, right? But most of the stock literally did that. It really made crazy moves. And people who started trading then, like make most of you guys over here who are going to be watching this, that started coming to trading because of BMNR, you guys would think that every single stock's going to do stuff like this. That's not how it works, right? Please don't get caught up in the hype. Okay, you guys, it's not gonna be pretty, right? It's not gonna be pretty for you guys. Okay, so first things first, before you guys start trading, what do you guys need? You guys need a broker, right? You guys need a broker to help you to execute your position, your buys and sells, right? Now, when we talk about investing, okay, I'm not really too fussy about what to pick, because when it comes to investing, you're literally just buying shares and holding on to them for years. So you don't really need that speed factor into it. Okay. But when it comes to trading, there's really three brokers that I recommend. Or not I wouldn't say I recommend, but three brokers that I used before, and I can say that this is good for day trading. Okay, first one is Webull. All right, now this is available for people in the UK and States. Okay. And just having the broker is one thing, yes, but you got to set up this thing called Turbo Trader that supports day trading. All right, I can't really show you guys an example for this, but I'll show you guys for Thinkorswim. It's roughly around the same in terms of execution speed. Robinhood doesn't have that, so I wouldn't recommend doing this Robinhood. All right, when you're day trading stocks, I think options is fine for Robinhood, but when you're day trading stocks, I don't recommend Robinhood. Okay, and then interactive brokers are for people outside the States, right? Maybe Turkey, Saudi, right? Singapore, right? Malaysia, South Korea, and maybe I don't know whether they have that. Okay, but this is widely available, right? There is a but you need to use this application Trader Workstation to help you execute your trades fast. At least that's the last I checked. Okay. And now for you guys who are new as well, there are certain account types to follow, right? Still, people still ask me why I can only have 3-day trades a week, so I have to be very selective with what I pick, right? Again, you should not be selective with what you pick, right? This is not like because by the time you start to want to make a decision to go into the stock, probably because you've seen this run up very high, it might already be too late. Okay, so if you don't have 25,000 USD in your account, my suggestion for you is to open a cash account so that it still gives you unlimited day trades. Right, you guys can just find this over here if you guys want to repeat that. All right, there are more information for you guys. Okay, and then this is all the time to go through this, right? Trading style. Again, you can see this over here, right? And the mindset's very important, right? You guys should come in here with the mindset to learn, and then you guys should start to capitalize on stocks that might make a move like BMNR, right? People come in when the hype is high, but that's where the stock has really made the move, right? People start finding into this and they wish they were over here, right? If you guys want to be in, before the move actually happened, then you got to stick through the consistency. You got to stick through the entire market hours, right? Every single day, put in the work, learning, so that when the next cycle repeats itself, you're actually gonna have the opportunity to be inside the initial part of the move instead of coming to the top part once you've heard about it. Okay, it's not gonna. Most people will be here, right? Most people will be here. But why do you think there's a huge disparity between people with money, right? There's a small group of people with that, and the people who are, I'm gonna say the common, the public, right? Most of the public, right? The middle class people, right? They're only coming in up here. You understand? Because they're only coming when hype and everything hits the market, right? They don't practice consistency to sit inside or rather to understand the market so that when the opportunity comes in, they can actually catch it before the hype comes, before the hype actually goes into full-blown scale, right? So that's that. But most people will be this, okay? But if you don't want to be like most people, obviously right now the move has already been done. But I can tell you guys one thing for sure: there is going to be something else like this again. Might not be Bitcoin related, might be healthcare, might be Chinese, right? But you got to stick through the process to be able to enjoy being in the bottom of the move before it actually happens. Okay, so I'm gonna show you guys an example as to why I feel or I say Thinkorswim is a good broker to day trade, and what would some of you guys do, right? And again, when it comes to day trading, you should never ever do it on your phone. I don't think that is something that you guys should do, right? You should never ever do it in your phone. PC is the best because of execution speed. Okay, that's one very important thing. And I'll show you guys an example. Okay, so I'm gonna use Thinkorswim. All right, I'm gonna show you guys this active trader feature. Right, I'm gonna show you guys how it's like before active trader and how it's like using active trader. Okay, so if we look at Sun, right? We use Sun as an example, right? Now this trade over here, this first trade on SONN happened very quickly. You can see in 2 minutes time, we actually hit $2 for 175. So we'll look into this. Now remember this, okay? Sun added 175 at 10:26. Okay, 2 minutes later it went up. You see, I'm taking profits on this 20-cent move. I'm not assuming that this thing is gonna go like BMNR. All right, because it's not healthy for you guys to think like that. All right, this is day trading. Okay, so let's look at SONN and I'll show you guys the why you should use PC and why you should use these certain brokers to help you guys execute your trades and stuff. Okay, so generally what you guys would do is that when I alert a position, you guys see the alert, right, at 175. So when you guys see this, you guys will go to your phone. Again, for those of you guys who trade your phone, right, or PC without the active trader or a broker without the active trader feature, what you guys would do is you guys would go over here to your trade function, right? Type out SONN first, obviously. And then you guys see 175, and then you guys start to put in your order. And you see, by the time you're doing all this, right, the price may have already shot up. And when you press send, okay, when you press send, it might not even fill, right? Maybe you see the price at 173. You want to buy it, okay? You press confirm and send, right? But it might not fill because you wasted your time typing all those stuff out that you can see that it's not going already. Like it has already been gone. You have just wasted your time typing all the stuff out and you wasted your opportunity because it takes time for stuff like this to I would say execute, right? You just wasted your time. It takes time for you to type in the ticker. It takes time for you to put in your share order, right? To make sure the price is there, to confirm and send. It takes time. And these plays are very quick, right? It's momentum, right? These plays are very quick when volume starts coming in. So let's say you press a send order, price goes up, it doesn't fill you, and then over here what happens is that the price will continue to go up even more, and you miss your opportunity. When you trade on your phone, on high momentum stocks, or when you trade on a PC without a trading system that supports quick trading, right? And you can see you could have gotten 1,000 shares and maybe have a $200 profits over here, but you missed out because you were not using a system that supports your supports day trading, right? You see that. So this is one thing that is that's why I keep saying, right? If you want to use a broker to support day trading, Thinkorswim, which is what I'm using, but Thinkorswim is not readily available like for most people, right? In the US, yes, but outside US, probably not. So that's why you can still use IBKR and Webull. The execution speed for Webull and IBKR is going to be the same as what I'm going to show you guys here right now. Okay, so let's wind it back right now, but this time I'm using Active Trader. Okay, I need to reset this thing because it was still a bit glitchy and stuff. So Active Trader is this. All right. This is wait, hold on. I need to reset this 1 second. Oh shit! Why did I make so much? Yeah, I have to start from scratch a little bit at least because it is a little bit glitchy. You can see that the price wasn't really moving earlier just now. So I have to one. Okay. Okay. So with this active trader feature, all right. So let's say you guys have a screen on my alert channel. You see me alert a position that I'm taking it, right? And then you go in. Maybe I add at 175 because I see volume coming in, right? But you're already prepared. Okay, you already have you can just type this, right? You type the ticker in. Your setup is there, right? Maybe you want to buy 2,000 shares, right? You type 2,000 in, okay? And then once it hits that particular price, or you see my alert, you see it, you type it in, you set the price over here, and let's say it starts going up, for example, right? Let's see. Let's wait for a little bit. You go in, you see it, okay, boom, right? Alert is there. Um, Price is within the ad range over here, right? Press buy, and you can see it's gonna fill. You guys see it? Let me pause this over here. You guys see the difference in the speed of execution. One of them requires you to put in the price, requires to put in the amount of shares, right? And you press confirm and send, and there's a confirmation button that comes up, and it's very slow. And then now that you know that you have 2,000 shares over here, right? Maybe you want to sell 70% out first, okay? Or maybe you want to sell 1,500 shares first. So you can set your quantity. Now this is going to be playing. You can set the quantity you want, and then put your mouse on the sell button. Okay, so let me pause this over here again. For those of you guys who use the traditional way using phone or PC without a active system trading broker, okay, what you guys would do is you guys, when the price goes to a particular level that you want to sell, well, same thing, you guys will go here, oh shit, okay, I want to sell 1,008. All right, I'm gonna make sure that the price is, whatever it's at. Okay, I'm gonna make sure everything's okay, and by the time you guys press send, there's a high chance that you may miss a sell order because the price may go up and might come back down. But with this system over here, you are ready anytime it pops up. You are more than ready to close your position. Now I'm waiting for this to at least hit 190s, right? So I'm waiting. When the price hit 190s or somewhere around there, I'm already ready to press one click of a button and the position is gonna execute and I've sold my position. Let me show you guys, right? So I'm waiting, I'm watching this. Okay. There we go. You guys see how quick this is? In terms of execution, do you guys see how quick it is compared to using on your phone or doing it the traditional way? That's the reason why I do not want you guys to be using PC when you guys day trade. Sorry, I do not want you guys to be using your phone when you guys day trade because the execution speed is slower. And you see over here, let's say it pops out over here, right? Okay, I want to sell right now. I want to sell right now. Shit. You press send, right? By the time you press send, there's a high chance that the price, okay, might already go down. And then your sell order will be just left sitting here. And there's a high chance that the stock may just do this, right? So you miss selling your profit taking opportunity, not because you don't know what you're doing, but because your system doesn't require you to execute quick. Now, let's say you have 500 shares left, right? And you see this, okay, you know what? I'm gonna sell 20. You see how fast the execution is? I just need to set my quantity, whatever shows in the chart. I press sell one time, there is no confirmation. I sell. It's very quick, and that's what you need, right? That is what you need when you day trade. You need speed and you need precision, which is not something that this will provide you. I'll tell you guys that. Now, obviously, this will work for tickers that are a little bit slower and stuff, but not every single ticker is going to do that, right? We talk about BMNR, right? If you use this method to buy in, okay, you probably would not have stopped out and you probably wouldn't even need to be worrying about taking profits early because that price keeps going up. But no, referring back to what I said, how often do you see tickers like BMNR did what it did? Not often, right? Absolutely not often at all. So you can be lucky with it, picking a ticker that doesn't run up. But what if you're not lucky on one ticker? And then you end up being bag holders, right? Like some of you guys maybe over here, you have experience trading before. You guys might end up being bag holders, and that's not good, right? Okay, so you see, this is what trading is about. Nothing to do with buying a huge amount of shares or going all in. I never ever go all in, remember that, right? And then holding everything for like that 2,000% move, right? No, we don't do that shit. All right. This is what trading is about, instant gratification. But if you have shares left, I keep telling you guys, just mixing it a little bit with a bit of riding the trend, right? You don't have to sell everything if the structure doesn't break down. So if you would adopt that methodology with BMNR, okay, let's say we take it in a more realistic scenario, okay? In a more realistic scenario. Let's say you guys don't even want re-entries, right? You guys don't take re-entries at all. Okay, we approach this with a more realistic scenario. Let's say you buy at 100 shares at $9 or at $10 over here, 10.50, right? Now let's write it down. 100 shares at 10.50, okay? This guy buys 100 shares at 10.50, right? and it goes up to $14. Okay, that's a 40% move. I think that's pretty decent. And you sell half. Okay, so you sell half of your shares, right? At $14, for example. All right. So you guys sell half your shares at $14. That's gonna net you around. That's gonna secure you $175 in profits. Now, let's just say realistically speaking, BMNR doesn't make this move, right? And it goes down under 10. So when it goes down to 10, you have 50 shares left. You close your position for a 50 cents per share loss, which is roughly going to be a $25 of profits given back. So at the end of the day, your trade is still up $150. But now, let's say it doesn't go down, right? And you have 50 shares left. Maybe you scale out 25 shares over here at $22, right? From 1050, okay? 22. Right? You sell another 25 shares. So that's going to net you another profit of $287.5, right? So total profit secured right now is around 400 plus, and you have 25 shares left. So you tell yourself this, all right, I've secured $400 plus right now. I have 25 shares left. I'm gonna set my stop loss and my entry for these 25 shares, and I'm just gonna ignore and let the market do its work. All right. So if let's say the stop loss triggers for you, okay, you still have your profit that you secured selling 50 shares at $14, selling 25 shares at $24, $24, I think $22, right? You get my drift. Now you have 25 shares left. These 25 shares is either gonna give you a very big payday bonus, or it's gonna stop you out, right? And you still will walk away with $400. Isn't that a win-win situation that you want to be in? And let's just say by the time you come back, right, it's at $50, right? You have 25 shares left, okay? So at 1050, right? Let's say this time you sell 15 shares, right? Because you still think might have a chance to go higher, okay? So you sell 15 shares, 1050 minus $50, okay? You sell 15 shares. That's gonna net you an additional $592 of profits on top of the 400 that you've already secured. So far, you have secured close to $1,000 of profits, already 1,000 plus already. And you still have how many shares left? 10 shares left. Now, this 10 shares left is either you get stopped out or you ride it to $100. I mean, this 10 shares for you left is stress-free, isn't it? So let's say it really hits 100. Again, none of us can tell how high a stock is going to go, right? Maybe this thing hits 100 and goes down. Maybe that day when it hits 129, it goes down and it's done. There's a high chance it could do that, right? None of us will know how high a stock is going to go, right? So let's say you choose your decision to sell everything at $100 from 1050, okay? So your 10 shares left, right? It's going to get you an extra $1,000. So this trade so far, you only entered one time. Okay, you exercise good risk management and trading execution. You have profited $2,000 on this trade. And I'm speaking about this on a small account perspective because I said only 100 shares. Remember that. How is that not good? Because remember, in any case, all these scenarios that I gave you guys, in any situation that BMNR doesn't do this move, you at least do walk away with some money. But some of you guys over here just do this, buy, it drops, no stop loss, it goes up, don't take profit. You expect every single move to move stuff like this, right? And then sometimes it doesn't, it just go all the way down. And then you start DMing me, hey BBT, do you think this is gonna go back up? Can you help me tweak this so that this thing can go back up? How am I supposed to help you? I can't. I cannot help you, right? You should have respected the stop loss plan. Instead of putting yourself in a position where you should ask yourself, should I cut it for a big loss or should I just hold on to this and hope it recovers? Because again, you can be lucky with one stock. Like I said, you can be lucky with one stock that you actually hold on to it and actually does a move like BMNR. You can be lucky with that. But the 99 times you're not lucky, you're going to lose everything and maybe even more. All right, remember, I want to share this story with you guys. There was this one person that he's new to trading, right? He's probably like one of you guys over here that are new, right? So back then during the GNS short selling hype, a lot of the people were talking about this, right? And he got in pretty early. I think the stock went from like 60 cents to $7, right? So he got in pretty early, and I told him, please take profits on the way up, right? That is the more sustainable way to do things instead of one-hit wonders. Or we do not want to be one-hit wonders. We want to be in here every single day for a really long time. So for him, he did not listen to me. Okay, I told him to take profits on the way up. He didn't. So he held full-size shares from 60 cents all the way to $5, $6. He sold everything, and he made a lot of money, right? He probably made like 30, 40 grand. Okay, that's what he told me, right? From what I can remember. But if he listened to what I said, he probably only made would have probably only made $5, $6,000. I mean, that's still okay. But because of that, right, to him, he's like, why should I listen to PBT? Because I did not listen to him and I made 20, $30,000, which is, 6 times more than what I would have made if I listened to PBT. Okay, so that is that. I will give it to him. He made his money. I'm very happy for him, but it instilled a very negative approach to trading in his mind. So he proceeded to, I didn't hear from him after, right? After he made the win. He showed me the screenshot. I congratulated him, and I didn't really hear from him after. And then 6 months later, he proceeded to continue to buy trades and stuff, right? Because he was stuck on that euphoria and that high, thinking that oh man, that feels good, right? If I go onto the stock, it goes up crazy, I make so much money, that feels good. So 6 months later, he comes back to me. He's like, "Hey, PBT." I was like, "Hey, how's it going? I hope you managed to grow your profits into bigger profits, right? Because once you have more money, it's much easier for you to make more money. That's just how it is." And then he sent me a screenshot, and guess what? He was down 40,000 on the year on top of the profits that he already got. So basically, what happened was he lost all the profits that he made on GNS over the span of 6 months, and he proceeded to lose 40,000 more. Okay, so you can be very good, right? You made a lot of money on this day, but 6 months later, if you can't keep any of them and you proceed to lose even more money instead of growing it, what's the point? It's pointless, right? What you wasted is not really just the loss of your money, but you also wasted your own time. And time, you can't get it back. You can't get time back. So that's why I keep emphasizing on adopting the right ways of doing things. I don't care, I know this is very high. I know all of you guys keep thinking, oh, if I have 5,000 shares at $9, if I sold off 5,000 shares at $160, I'll make a lot of money. But yeah, sure you would, but how realistic is that? How sustainable is that? It's not, right? It's really not. You guys have been trading for a long time. You guys know that this is not sustainable. Okay? All right. So please, okay, for those of you guys who are new, really take this into heart. You guys can understand what I'm saying in the next 2 days. Okay, not every single play is going to move out like that. There's a high chance that things might even slow down. But let's see, right? Everyone's hyped up BMNR. Maybe it's going to continue going up to $200. Okay, I did give you guys 4 re-entries, right? One entry here, one re-entry over here, one re-entry over here, one re-entry over here. All right, every single day I give you guys re-entries except for the Friday one, but we were sitting in this. All right, I told you guys to aim for new highs. If we set up again, I'll give it to you guys, but I'll have a stop loss plan, and you guys should respect it too. Okay, all right. Man, okay, that's pretty much all I wanted to say for the new members. I think induction is very important. Mindset, having a right mindset before you start stepping foot into this is very, very important. Okay, now I see 63 chats inside. I'm gonna start answering questions. Okay. All right, first one. Hey, PBT, may I ask, how do you avoid getting fake out by false breakouts, especially if a ticker is moving too fast? So how do you avoid getting caught up in false breakouts is the answer is you can't. All right, nobody will know if the breakout's going to be strong or weak. Okay, nobody will know. But that's the reason why for me, okay, I always like to increase the success rate, right? The confirmation, the success rate, to increase that. Hey, I didn't know SON was doing this. Wow. What the fuck? Hey, yo. Hey, what? I didn't know this. Man, Friday everything was hyped out as shit. Okay, so to increase the success rate of how a stock is going to, or rather, how do you avoid getting fake outs is by waiting for a breakout confirmation, a candle breakout confirmation, which is what I which is what I shared with you guys on how to play my breakout plays, right? So we use S1N for example because that's the one that went pretty nice. Okay, so right over here on this, okay, on this alert here, I told you guys S1N 290 break, stop loss on the 280. Okay, so your question is how do you avoid getting fake out? Well, don't buy into wicks like this then. First, that's the first thing, right? You see, I know price did breach out the 190 a little bit, but to me, that's a wick. That's a fake out, right? That's a wick. So that's why for me, I wait for a candle to close above 290 first, and then I'll add the next candle. Now, don't get me wrong, right? I mean, not every single doesn't mean that this thing means that it's going to go crazy. There's a high chance that when this thing breaks out, you take your entries over here, and then it still might go down. There's still a chance it could do that. So trying to avoid getting fake out by false breakouts is like trying to ask me, how do you know which ticker is going to be the winning ticker for the day? I mean, I wouldn't know. And that's the reason why it's very important for you guys to have a stop loss and respect it. That's what's going to protect you guys from blowing up your account, and waiting for a candle close above is going to increase your success rate of picking or of not getting caught in fake outs. Right? So two things you can do to safeguard, increase the probability of not getting fake outs. Again, no 100% guarantee. You can't avoid it. All right? You cannot avoid it. But you can protect yourself by having stop loss plan, and you can decrease yourself getting faked out by waiting for candle close confirmations. Okay? All right, so Totelo asked, right, what should I do if I jump in at a time when the price is super volatile? I jump in at 1180, got super scared. Now, the moment you get super scared is because you're playing with money that you're not used to. If you bought one share here, I don't think you'll be afraid at all. I don't even think you're gonna care whatever happens. Right? If you bought one share of BMNR, I don't think you're gonna care what happens. I don't think anyone of you over here is gonna care what happens. Right? If it goes up, it goes down. Because it's so little. But if you increase the size to 1,000 shares, man, a 10, 20 cents drop, you'll start to panic. Because emotionally and psychologically speaking, you're not trained to trade such a big amount. Right? You're not trained to handle such a big account size. Right? So when your emotions start to be involved, I mean, maybe you got trauma from your previous experience and whatnot, but one of the other possibilities is because you're playing with sizes that is way too big, and you're not psychologically used to it. All right, that is just how it is. Right? Are you looking at so far? Yes. Are you using MACD? No, I don't use MACD. I think it's good for you guys to start using MACD as a foundation, and then you can start to take it out. I was using MACD at the start as well, right? To but as a foundation, right? And then after that, I started to get away from it. Yeah, you see, Totelo, right? You jumped in because there was hype surrounding blah blah blah. But if you have no idea what you should do, you just jump in because of the hype, man, that is just a recipe for disaster. You're lucky that it did not go down. But if it does, then most of the time you're just gonna end up getting caught. Okay. Does Weibo allow 4 a.m. trading? Yes. Weibo allows 4 a.m. trading. Guys, I've laid out all the beginner information you guys need, right? Honestly, before you guys even start trading, okay, all the information you guys need is over here. I mean, it's just a click of a button away, right? You can see I've really listed out every single thing you guys need to know. All right, at least the basic stuff. Just gotta go read it. That's it. And I think look at volume, blah blah blah. Always wait for pullback on the first blah blah. Yeah. I mean, it's all good stuff. Never ever chase the run unless the only time sometimes I do chase the run as well, right? But I give you guys responsible alerts for that, right? Keep your stop loss tight. I give you guys tight stop loss on the breakout plays and stuff, So some plays when they might not ever get dips. Remember what I said before, right? The beautiful thing about breakout plays is that you don't have to wait for dips, and you can still get a piece of the pie because some players might just never pull back. We take SONM for example, right? If you miss a dip, right, and it actually breaks out, I mean, you can see it might never ever pull back for you. So, you can take breakouts, nothing wrong with chasing the move, but you have to make sure that you have a tight stop loss plan and you're taking it on a key level breakout and not just randomly because there's a big green candle. Does a margin account allow unlimited? No. Only if you're above 25,000. If you're under 25,000, then you're subjected to the PDT rule, which only allows you to do three day trades a week, which is it's not gonna you can't day trade with that. The settle cash rule only applies for a cash account. Can you explain how you pick a with stock to play and what indicators to use? Now, for me, when I pick a stock, I look at what happens in pre-market first, right? Because that's the only data that I can use with momentum in the market to help me identify what stocks to play. And obviously, how do you know what stocks to pick in pre-market? Then that comes down to having a stock scanner so that you know what stocks to be picking, what stocks to not be picking and stuff. So for pre-market data, for pre-market, right, there's going to be a lot of there's going to be movements, right? There's going to be movements, noon till bot, there's a scanner inside the trading chat, right, that tells you what's moving, what's not moving, which one has a move, like for example, this one right over here. So whatever pops up over here, I'll put it in the watch list and I'll watch the price action. And then by market open, right, I would have added new tickers and take out some tickers as well based on how they perform during pre-market. Indicators I use is I use the 21, 50, 200 EMA. Basically, whatever you guys see on my chart over here is what I use. 4 lines, right? 21, 50, 200, VWAP, and that's it. That's all I use. I don't use anything else. I don't like to clutter my charts with too much information. It's gonna be even harder for you guys to make a decision on something. So I try to keep it very simple. How do you set your hypothetical entry price? What do you mean? How do you set your hypothetical entry price? What do you mean by hypothetical entry price? Please explain what is low daily average volume and why do you want to see it low? Okay, so tickers with low daily average volume just pretty much gives you guys more potential for the stock to go because it's not used to the amount of volume the ticker has. So whenever a ticker hits it, right? Whenever a ticker hits it, okay, it's very sensitive to the volume. So that's why you can see that it moves up very aggressively. Sometimes it might just pop up and dies off, kind of like what EMPG and C, the two tickers that went up pretty high on Friday, in just a quick moment. Right? Sometimes some tickers can just do this. Okay, it can just do this, which is not healthy, right? Because this is way too big of a move. But you can see, I think the daily average for this was very low as well because this was an IPO. It wasn't really much amount of volume. So you can see it's fresh off the market, crazy move, but they're not sustainable, right? So, but generally speaking, if the low daily average volume ticker can actually hold up trend and everything, then there's a high chance for a huge explosive move, like what we see with CYN 2 weeks ago, going from $10 to $40. Just think about, it's like the analogy that I use, right? Just think about when you don't eat for like let's say you every day you work on one meal a day, right? And it's and comparing to suddenly you work on 3 meals a day, you're gonna have a lot more energy with 3 meals a day, right? Because you're used to a low daily food intake, and then suddenly you up the food intake for yourself. I mean, a healthy amount, right? I mean, you're gonna have more energy. There is no 100%. Always remember, whatever I say right now, there is no 100%, right? But it's a good guideline, right? It's a good guideline to gauge across. Is there any tips in reducing fees? No, I don't know about this. I think if you're telling me to buy PM and sell regular trading hours, I don't think that's good. Because what if the move happens during PM, right? And then it starts dumping really hard. I mean, you don't tell me you're not gonna take profits because of what? The fees are high, yes. I mean, IBKR fees are pretty high for penny stocks. I think for normal stocks it's fine, but for penny stocks, IBKR fees are. If I'm using IBKR and I see a penny stock move, I wouldn't touch it at all because the fees just don't make it worth. When penny stocks, I'm talking about stocks under $1, where stocks under 50 cents. Right, I wouldn't touch them because the fees make it not worth it. Okay, so for plays like EMPG and CV, I know these are very attractive moves, but I wasn't there when it happened, right? I was busy running errands, but I can 100% guarantee one thing: the spread for this ugly as shit. The spread for this is probably super ugly, right? So what I mean by spread ugly, it means that the ask is at $4, the bid is like 2 plus for sure. I know one thing for sure is that these spreads are super ugly, right? It's gonna be super super ugly. So again, big spreads means what? Lotto size, because these tickers can make crazy moves, right? But sometimes it could just pop up like that. Okay, sometimes these moves can just do this, right, and then do this. There's a high chance you could do that, right? There's a high chance you could do that. So that's why you only want to go in lotto size for these plays and aim for like a big move to complement the lotto size so that you still make a substantial amount of money. All right, these are the only way you guys can catch that. Right, these are the only way you guys can catch it. Lotto size. You can't size it big for this as well. Anyway, there's not enough liquidity over here for you guys and on the initial move. Same thing for CV. I don't think the spread was small. I'm pretty sure the spread was very huge, right? I don't think the spread was small. I think the spread was very, very huge. So there's no way that you guys can go in normal size over here. But it does make up for it for not being able to size in heavy by giving you a aggravated move to the upside in a very short period of time. So yeah.
I found it.
Yeah, no, see, Totelo, just now as I was explaining to you guys how you guys can manage your 100 shares, right? If you did what I did, I mean, you probably could have got out with $2,000, right? Or maybe less than that. Maybe you sell everything at $50. That's fine too, right? Again, nobody would know how high a stock is going to go. I mean, you can tell me that you leave runners for the highs, but how many runners are you gonna leave? Like you keep if it makes new highs, you scale out. I mean, there's a point of time where you're just gonna run out of stocks, right? To ride the runners, which is why re-entries are also very important. And the thing about re-entries is if you had a very good trade on this ticker, I mean the re-entries, you can be a little bit more aggressive in sizing in, but obviously make sure you don't give everything back that you made on this ticker. Let's say maybe you made $2,000 on this ticker, right? And you want to risk 25% of it, which is $500, right? So that means that, if you buy a stock at $5, okay, so the re-entries over here, let's talk about the re-entries for BMNR, right? Let's say you made 2 grand. Let's say you made 2 grand over here for let's see. But let's say you made 2 grand on this, right? On the initial move, you made 2 grand. And then when I give you guys re-entries on the second day, right, you want to risk what? 25% of your 2 grand. So that's $500. So if you want to risk $500 over here, you can add, and maybe let's say you add at $50, for example. Stop loss was under 44, right? So that's a 6 cents, $6 risk. So for $6 risk, if it doesn't work out, you lose $500. That means that you can afford to buy 83 shares over here, right? 83 shares over here. Okay, and then you see this thing still went up to like 69 from $50. So 50 minus 69, you have 83 shares. That's gonna give you additional $1,500. Right? That's gonna give you an additional $1,500. And maybe you guys can sell some at 73 even, right? It's gonna give you additional 1,500 off a $500 risk. And let's just say if it doesn't work out in this manner, then you lose $500, you still walk away with 1,500 on this trade. It's a win-win situation, right? When you're green on a trade, okay, re-entries doesn't have to be small, and you don't have to risk the capital, your account's capital, right? You use profits to make more profits. So in any case, your profits is protecting you, your capital is untouched, your account is just gonna consistently grow up like that. I mean, obviously with some setbacks somewhere, but it's gonna be an uptrend, right? Because you're consistent at it. So same thing. Let's say you make then this thing closed out, right? You close your top position. So your total profits over here, if you on the re-entries as well, is going to be right 3,005. So you gate 3,005, right? $3,500 over here. Okay, total on this trade. Now, third day re-entries again. Let's say you add a 51, 52, stop loss under 40, right? And you know that you have made $3,500 over here. And this time you tell yourself, okay, you know what? I want to risk $1,000 for this. I want to risk $1,000 for this. So you can buy 100 shares here. If it doesn't work out, you lose 1,000. But if it does, it still went up to 62, right? You're up 1,002 on the day itself. Maybe you sell half, right, to secure 500. So that now that it goes back down to 40, you're going to be break even. You still walk away with 3,005. Or and then you sell half. You have half left, 50 shares left. This thing goes up like that. You're in at 50, right? It goes up to maybe 100. You have 50 shares left. You just made yourself additional $2,500, and this is going to be close to 10 grand, and it's all risk free for you. You did not touch your capital at all. You only risk your profits. Your capital is not at risk. It's stress free. You get what I mean? Again, if it doesn't work out, you're still green on the trade. That's how you're responsible. That's how you be responsible with your trades. I sus volume, you have to look at the tape and stuff, right? This one sus volume, you gotta look at the tape. You gotta look at how the candlesticks is forming, whether there's a little bit of volume coming in and stuff. This one I can't really show you guys here. You really gotta look at the tape, right? Once you start to see a little bit of buys coming in, I think you can start to let me see if I can. Let me do a playback. No, I can't do a playback for Friday, right? You can see I can't do a playback for Friday. And the EMPG happened on Friday, so I can't really show you guys right now. But sus volume just basically means look at the tape, right? If you see volume coming in and stuff, then you can just add lot size and see what happens. Why it ran on a Friday? I would say probably one of the reason was because of the 4 a.m. move on what's the 4 a.m. move? What's the one that Moon Market kind of pumped? It's probably because of that, right? But if you ask why it ran on Friday, then nobody will have the answer to that, right? If the people wants to push this on the Friday, then it'll be pushed on the Friday. If they want to push it on Monday, then it'll be pushed on the Monday. You can't know. You can never know. There is no schedule. Hey guys, we're gonna push AMPG today. Nobody's gonna tell you that, right? You're just gonna monitor the volume. That's it. So I don't advise putting a stop loss. All my stop loss is mental, right? Because you don't want to get wicked out of a position. At what point, the only time I set a stop loss is if, let's say, I'm in at $5, the stock is at 7, then I'll be more comfortable setting a stop loss. If I'm in at 5, the stock is at 5.20, I'm not gonna set a stop loss. All right, I will set a stop loss once I secure enough profits. I feel like I have enough buffer room from the current price and my entry price. I'll just set a stop loss, step away from the computer, or look for something else. Sometimes I'm unable to catch the call in time. Also, you're posting too many tickers, which creates confusion. No, I'm not. I don't think I'm posting a lot of tickers, number one. Okay, and again, it's all about probability, right? I'm not here to be like, I'm gonna call you guys 2 plays a day and go off. No, right? Trading is about probability. Okay, you gotta obviously you have to have high probability tickers to trade. It's not confusion. I'm actually trading all these stocks. I'm not posting too many tickers. All right. If you tell me it's confusing for you, you're probably not used to it. So take some time to get used to the game. If you're unable to catch the call on time, I'm not sure. Are you using the systems I was telling you guys about earlier fun, right? Or are you using your phone and what? If you're using your phone, then there's a high chance you're not gonna be able to catch it, right? I've just showed you guys the example as to why just now. Okay, and again, I'm not posting too many tickers. I'm not. All right, this is what trading is. All right, it's nobody will be able to know every single day for the entire year what is the only stock to trade for the day. Nobody's going to know that. There's nothing confusing about that. Right, you're just not used to it. All right, there are so many chart patterns out there. It's overwhelming. Do chart patterns really work? If so, what's the important one to memorize? Chart patterns doesn't tell you anything. It doesn't tell you where the stock is going to go. All right. If chart patterns doesn't tell you exactly where to go, always remember this, guys. I told you guys this before. Patterns on the chart. Okay, just because this stock did this, okay. Oh, let's say this, right? Let's say this is an ascending triangle pattern. Okay, you have a price doing this. Okay. Okay, so textbook wise tells you that this thing, when it breaks out, is gonna go up like that. But in reality, price can do this and do this. Okay, it could do that. So does chart pattern work in that sense? No. But what chart pattern does is that it gives you a plan to where you can enter. Okay, and if it doesn't work out, where you need to stop out. Because you have lines, you have patterns, it gives you a plan to work with, right? I like to use this analogy. Chart patterns is like having road signs on the road. You know where to turn left, you know where to turn right to get to your destination. Without road signs, you're driving blind. Without GPS, you're driving blind. The chart patterns are like GPS. Okay, it doesn't guarantee that it's going to go like that, right? When you use your GPS and stuff, or when you use road signs, let's say for example, when you use road signs, there's no guarantee that there is not going to be a jam, right? A traffic jam, or a road closure or anything like that, right? Same thing, right? There's no guarantee that just because the chart pattern show you a standing triangle pattern, it's going to do this, right? There's a chance that it could just do this. There's a chance that it could just do this. It's just a guide so that you know where to put your stop and where to look for your entry, right? So that this way you can formulate a trading plan and not go in without any sort of plan on what's going on, right? And when you're lost in the trade, that's the worst thing to be in, right? Irfan, that's the first thing. Second thing, it would be helpful if you show us how to draw these lines properly. Now, I cannot show you guys how to draw it. I mean, I can show you guys how to draw it, but it's not going to help you, right? That's why I created this trolling chat, right? I said, if you guys need any help with drawing charts, start drawing the line first, and then I will show you guys how to properly draw it better. I'll show you guys some examples, and this way you guys can learn. It's muscle memory over here. I can show you guys how to do it, but if you don't actually do it yourself, you will never get the hang of it, right? So use this chat, right? Draw it and stuff, and then ask questions. That's how you can improve. Another concern I have is that sometimes when you give an entry and exit at almost the same time, for someone like me with a small account, when the money gets stuck in trades, I can't take any more trades. How can I manage? So you have a cash account, probably so, right? If that's the case, for someone like me with a small account, when the money gets stuck in trades, I can't take any more trades. If you can't, I mean, this is one of the situations that you are in. If you have a cash account, you don't have any more cash to trade, then so be it, right? You can't really force it at all. I mean, sometimes, there might be 3 to 4 plays that looks good. All right, there might be 3 to 4 plays that looks good, but don't work out. And then suddenly the last play works out, but you're out of cash. But it happens, right? Because you can't say stuff like, "Oh, I'm not gonna take the 3 to 4 trades that looks good because yesterday it did that, right? And it didn't work out. So today I'm going to avoid the 3 to 4 trades that looks good and take the last trade. And then today the 3 to 4 trades go crazy. You see what I mean? Right? You're trying to recognize a pattern that the market doesn't have. Right? The market will just move whatever it wants to move. There is no such thing as every single day at 8 a.m. there will be a 2000% runner. Every single day at 8:30 there's going to be a 100% runner. Every single day the fourth ticker that runs is going to run big. No, sometimes the first ticker runs, it runs big. Sometimes the second ticker runs, it runs big. There is no consistent pattern in the small cap market. So you cannot be like if on that day the trades don't work out, right? And then you have run out of cash, that's it. And when you say your money gets stuck in trades, this one I'm not sure. Because I never ever give 3 to 4 active trade at once. If I'm in a trade and that trade don't work out, I cut it so that I can move on to something else. So I'm not sure what you're talking about here, but I hope you're actually respecting the stop loss plan. And you see, another concern is almost at the same time, right? When the money get so I don't understand what you mean by when the money gets stuck in trades. Because if you're entering and exiting with me, then the money isn't stuck in trades. And if you have a small account, I would assume under 25,000, then you should have a cash account. Your money will get stuck regardless of whatnot. Because even if you close the position, your cash needs to settle. You can't get it back to trade. So I don't know what you're talking about here, Irfan. But if you're talking about having only 3-day trades a week, that's what you mean, or whatnot, then I'm not sure. But there's no such thing as playing it safe. As the example I gave you. On Monday, 3 plays don't work out, 4th play goes crazy. Because of that, on Tuesday, you don't take the 3 plays that I call out, right? You want to wait for the 4th play. But instead, the 3 plays I call out go crazy. And then you're going to be like, fuck. You see? There's no pattern, right? You just have to take it, respect the plan, and move on if there isn't any. That's it. You mentioned the importance of having stop loss. How do I avoid getting hunted down by stop loss? Don't set a stop loss. That's it, right? Don't set a stop loss so that you don't get stopped out. You only set a stop. When I say importance of having a stop loss, I mean having a plan to know uh where where to stop out if the price go underneath that mantle, right? You know, right? If the price go underneath this, I should be ready to close my position. That's what I mean by having an importance, right? Of having a stop loss plan. Okay, I don't mean like setting physical. Again, I only set physical stop losses on my runners. Okay, I'm gonna stop the recording in case it get too long.